There's, special seal pulling tools for this trick, but we don't have those, so this is a trick that I do. I stick the cam seal retainer in a vise, and if you wedge your screwdriver in there, you can just use leverage and pop it right out. Maybe. And there you go. There's your cam retainer. And the new seal we can just pop in. I usually just pop them in when the cam is already put back on the car, and then just pop it on around the cam itself. Okay, on the back side of this cam retainer, there's an O-ring that goes here. I took this one off, it stayed with the engine side, but usually it'll be in there, it'll be like a hard plastic ring. It's supposed to be a soft rubber O-ring, which comes with our cam seals. So you want to make sure to clean this up and put the O-ring on, and then install this back onto the cam. Then once we can do that, we can press our seal onto it from there. Alright, here's our cam seal set. This is Velcro. It includes the cam seals and the O-rings. Be careful when you order parts that you get a set that includes the O-rings with them, because a lot of times what you're going to end up with is a set of cam seals and no O-rings. This is what you're looking for a complete set for the cams, left and right. Okay, I've already cleaned up this side here. I wiped off any loose dirt or whatever. Oil is okay, since these things naturally live in oil. Make sure we have the right side on each side, like so. So make sure that fits, make sure we got the right one here. Now what we're going to do, if you want to wipe off the back side of that, and then we're going to slip our new O-ring over that piece. Alright, then you're just going to slide that over the cam here. If you want to, it's not a bad idea to put a slight film of oil on here, but these parts are still, still fresh out the car. And just, just kind of twist and wiggle that in there, and it'll go in. Here, we are ready to install our cam seals. I put a slight film of oil on the inside lip there, just to help it go onto the cam. So you're going to slide it onto the cam a little bit. Make sure the lip goes. Beat it on there a little bit if you need to. But what we're going to do is we're going to either use a large socket or use the end of an extension and a hammer and tap circumferentially around the seal to seat it flush with the outside. You don't want to seat it too far in there, because otherwise it's going to block the oil passages and blow itself out like the previous guy did on the other side of the motor here. We're going to set our cam seal here. I was going to use a 36mm socket because it's roughly the same diameter, just to press it in. There are seal presses you can get too, but this trick works for me anyway. But we want to make sure we seat it in there squarely. Give her a couple love taps around the outer circumference. And then you can use an extension to get her in there. When you drive the seal, make sure to drive it closer to the edge, because if you hit it in the middle or use too, like say a drift punch or a smaller extension, it is possible to dent the face of the seal, which could compromise the seal and cause it to leak. And we want to seat it flush with the outer edge of the cam retainer. You can even hear it in the tool, like how it strikes down that you're seating it in, because it'll kind of go up in pitch as it sits down. Once you start getting the seal most of the way in there, you can let your driving tool kind of ride the edge of the cam seal retainer so you don't drive the seal in too far. And there you have it, cam seal. Alright, we are going to drive out our crankshaft front main seal. You can get special seal pulling devices. Once again, flat screwdriver does for me, as long as you are aware of what you're sticking in there and how you stick it in there to not tear up any surfaces. The crank snout is harder grade steel than your average cheap ass Walmart dollar screwdriver, so I'm going to get in there, get up under the steel face like so, just kind of work it out a little bit, get underneath it, and once you get in there enough, you'd be able to have some leverage to just to pop it out. Sometimes it's easier than other times, but this seal definitely is pretty hard and plasticky versus soft and rubbery. And I'm assuming whoever did the cam seals on this didn't do the crank seal. I'd almost bet you he didn't do it because he couldn't find a listing for one at his local AutoZone. This is actually a good seal in here. It's the OEM one. It's labeled NOK. NOK, I guess, is the original OEM manufacturer for these. Our Felpro units we've replaced are stamped with Mexico. If you ever are in the market for seals, if you can find the NOK ones, those are the ones that you want. As far as, you know, having just an overall better quality seal. And there we are. There's our old seal pulled out of our Subaru. I don't know if we can see too well here, but look how hard this plastic is. That was rubber at one time. It should be flexible and not break. Make sure you have a clean surface just so you don't contaminate it when going together. It's our Felpro conversion set. CS9390. For the sake of demonstration, these are all the seals we have. For the sake of practicality, I'm not installing all of them, but we have them for future maintenance. I will do the oil pump gasket. The rear main seal I've decided to leave go because the original one's fine. This car has 105,000 miles. Oil pump seal, I'd rather not disassemble it because I don't want to compromise its integrity. It is functioning, there's no lift or tick. Oil pump shaft seal. This part we can put on the next time the timing belt is serviced. And you can also install this without removing the oil pump. I could put it on now if I felt like it. And we have a water pump seal, which the water pump is intact. Save that for next maintenance. This part is for the breather plate on the back engine, typical of turbo and MPFI models. And of course, crush washer for the drain pan if you drain the oil. Alright, this seal is up in our Subaru crank. We've driven it in so far with a throw-out bearing. I would much prefer some sort of socket to install this, but I'm just snugging it down.
How many times have you used this method with great success?
I've done it on all of my shit.
And you've never had a blowout?
No. Robert Gap did one time with his rear main seal, but he put that in. I just usually didn't bother with doing the rear seals. As far as, you know, unless they're obviously leaking or obviously need to be replaced, but
now what is the
if they look fine to me, then I wouldn't try to compromise its integrity.
Now what is the seal that typically goes bad that gives the indication of a rear main seal that's bad in Subarus?
What do you mean? Well, if it went bad, it would leak. Usually it leaks off the back of the engine or from the breather plate on turbo and MPFI models.
And the typical assumption at that point is that the rear main seal is bad.